we're going to get to the last part of the night here. This is more serious, so I need your focus. What I'm going to break down here is something that really changed my whole perception of culture, slash, I don't know, everything. Stay with me. Action movies are just like musicals. Right? Okay, so if you think about it, both of them are thrilling, they're exciting. Both of them sometimes suffer from shoddy scene work and or questionable plots. Both of them make up for those shortcomings with incredible sequences. So, if you think about it, the action sequences in an action movie are basically, they serve the same purpose as the musical numbers in a musical. To illustrate this point, we're gonna dive into a source text of the night and really dissect it and compare it to some of my favorite songs from the American musical theater canon. The source text, if you will, that we're gonna honor tonight is the classic of the action movie genre, The Fast and the Furious. Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster, and Paul Walker. Okay, let's dive right in. So, The Fast and the Furious has an opening sequence that really sets the tone for the whole movie. Let's watch a little bit. Look at this car. They are driving so fast, they're going to steal from this truck, and that car goes underneath the 18-wheeler. They're driving like 90 miles an hour. It's wild. This is the first 30 seconds of the movie. You're just like, what am I watching? This is truly incredible. And then Paul Walker, in the next second, drives this car like 140 miles an hour and looks at the dashboard and is like, it's not fast enough! So this opening sequence really just sort of serves to set up the world that we're going to be in, namely a world in which people drive really fast and steal shit. Which is just like the opening of Fiddler on the Roof. Tradition, 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 which tells us we are in a small Jewish village where tradition is very important. Okay, so in The Fast and the Furious, the next thing we see is a fist fight between Paul Walker and this asshole guy. It is predicated by a love sequence between Paul Walker and Vin Diesel's sister, Jordana Brewster. So this is really a love scene. Stick with me. And you know, we see it in an action movie in the form of a fist fight because, you know, we don't think too good. So this is really just like this classic scene from Oklahoma. Why not take you out tonight with me? Honey, here's the way it's gonna be. You will sit behind a team of snow white horses in the slickest gig you ever see. Chicks and ducks and geese better scurry when I take you out in the Surrey. When I take you out in the Surrey with the fringe on top. Which is a song about our main character Curly being in love with Lori. It's a romance scene. It's the same exact thing. Okay, so in The Fast and the Furious, the next thing we have is what I call the I Want sequence of the movie. It's where Paul Walker is really deciding what he wants for the rest of the film. We know that he wants respect. We know this because he is willing to gamble $2,000 on a single race against Vin Diesel, and also because he looks right into the camera and says, I want respect! And he's driving, and this is the race, and look how fast they're going! This is incredible! It's so fun! It's like, this world is just the best world. Okay, which is just like this scene from My Fair Lady. All I want is a room somewhere far away from the cold night air, with one enormous chair of wood, wouldn't it be lovely? Which is a song where Eliza Doolittle explains that she wants to not be poor anymore. Okay, back in TFATF land, we've got the race ends, the cops come, all the cars disperse, and then Vin Diesel is running away from the cops on foot. Paul Walker picks him up, they escape, it's good, they're like now friends, they're like bonded, right? They're in this together, and then they accidentally drive into enemy territory, and the bad guys blow up their car. And it happens really quickly because this is an action movie. Which is just like this weekend's from Hello Dolly. Put on your Sunday clothes, there's lots of world out there. Get out the Brilliantine and dime cigars. We're gonna find adventure in the evening air. Girls in white and a perfume night where the lights as bright as the stars. Which is a song about our main characters going out on an adventure together. Okay, so there's not really a great action sequence for a minute here in the Fast and the Furious, but we do have a montage where they tell us how to make a car, which I think is fun. These big canisters of NOS, which are the things that make the cars go really fast. So whatever, it doesn't have much to do with the plot, but it's sort of like this part from Frozen where we've been with Anna and Elsa the whole time, and then the snowman sinks. The hot and the cold are both so intense. Put them together, it just makes sense. Winter's a good time to stay in and cuddle, but put me in summer and I'll be a happy snowman. When times get rough, I like to hold on to my dream of relaxing in the summer sun, just letting off steam. Oh, the sky will be blue, and you guys will be there too. When I finally do what Frozen things do, it's summer. It's summer. Which has nothing to do with the plot, but is really cute. Yeah, Frozen! Target audience right there. So the next part of the Fast and the Furious, there's a sequence where Paul Walker reveals that he is a cop, but then he gets caught by Vin Diesel, who is like, "Are you a cop?" And Vin Diesel and Paul Walker's like, "No, I'm not a cop. I'm not a cop," which is my favorite thing that happens in any action movie. "Are you a cop?" "No, I'm not a cop." He is a cop. Anyway, and then there's another like romantic kind of subplot moment with Paul Walker and Jordana Brewster, where it's not a full action sequence, but she does drive really fast, which again is the language of this text. We drive fast and we steal things, which is just like this song from the Music Man. Madam Librarian, which is a song where Harold Hill is continuing to flirt with Marion the librarian. Moving on, we get the end of the first half of the Fast and the Furious, and it is like a big, action-packed, amazing sequence. We've got a SWAT team bust, which is super fun. Paul Walker's involved with that, and then it's juxtaposed very nicely at the same time with a really steamy Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez makeout session. Kids, hide your eyes. It's really fun. It's all the characters sort of doing everything at the same time, which is just like the ending of the first act of Les Miserables, where all the characters are singing at the same time about everything. One day more, another day, another destiny. This never-ending road to Calvary. These men who seem to know my crime will surely come a second time. One day more. I did not live until today. How can I live when we are parted? One day more. Tomorrow you'll be worlds away. Okay, we get it. We're not gonna do the whole thing. Blah, blah, blah. It's 10 characters. They're all singing at the same time. But the point is establishing what they're doing now and what the rest of the show is gonna be about. Alright, so the second half of the Fast and the Furious starts, and it is a bunch of race cars, and they're all gonna race each other, which is super fun. All of our characters are in the same place, and we're setting the tone for what's happening. It's back-to-back-to-back action sequences. Here we got Michelle Rodriguez smokes this misogynist guy and takes his money, which is super fun, and then Vin Diesel threatens to beat this guy up, / he actually does beat this guy up because the guy calls him a narc, which is another one of my favorite action movie things. You're a narc! I'm not a narc! Okay, so then this is just like this part from West Side Story. I feel pretty, oh so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and bright, and I pity any girl who is with me tonight. Da 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 da. Which reminds the audience what's going to happen for the rest of West Side Story, namely that Maria is in love with Tony, which is forbidden. Okay, so now we're getting to the meat of a movie like The Fast and the Furious. We're kind of winding down. It's action sequence, action sequence, action sequence. Vin Diesel and the gang are going to steal from this truck. What they don't know is that the truck is going to shoot back, which is not going to go well for them when that car tips over because, whatever, that person lives, don't worry. Paul Walker knows that this is all happening. He goes and rescues them, even though he doesn't like this guy, but he rescues him because he's a good dude. What this does is, we don't need to get into the plot, who cares? The next thing that happens is some kid gets shot in broad daylight, and so Vin Diesel and Paul Walker have to go rescue him, find the guys who shot him, and so we get a good chase sequence, which we love chase sequences. They're so fun. which is just like this sequence from Guys and Dolls. I dreamed last night I got on the boat to heaven, and by some chance I had brought my dice along, and there I stood, and I hollered, someone fade me. But the passengers, they knew right from wrong. For the people all said, sit down, you're rocking the boat. The people all said, sit down, you're rocking the boat. And the devil will drag you under by the sharp lapel around your checkered coat. Sit down, you're rocking the boat. Which is a big old production number with lots of singing and dancing. All right, now we get to the what I call the 11 o'clock number in the Fast and the Furious. The 11 o'clock number in musical theater world is where your protagonist or main character really sings about his or her, change and what they're gonna do to sort of come to a resolution and drive the show towards its ending. It's really like a big kind of emotional moment in most shows when they're written well. In the Fast and the Furious, this takes the form of a drag race between Vin Diesel and Paul Walker, where they almost get hit by that train, really close to getting hit, because it's a macho off type situation. Vin Diesel, he's like, oh wow, we did that, that's great. Oh, and Paul Walker's like, oh yeah, watch out for that truck, and oh, this isn't good. Oh. The car bounces for another 30 seconds. Vin Diesel walks right out, obviously. That's really both of these characters sort of kind of bearing their soul in the way that they know how in the Fast and the Furious. Which is just like this sequence from Cabaret. Sitting alone in your room, come hear the music play. Life is a cabaret, old chum. Come to the cabaret. Put down your knitting, the book and the broom. Time for a holiday. Life is a cabaret, old chum. Come to the cabaret. Come taste the wine, come hear the band, come blow your horn, start celebrating. Right this way, your table's waiting. No use permitting some prophet of doom to wipe every smile away. Life is a cabaret, old chum, only a cabaret, old chum, and I love the cabaret. This is a song where Sally Bowles is effectively making the decision to not flee, but rather remain in soon-to-be Nazi Germany. I did not know that the first time I saw Cabaret. For the record, darker show than I anticipated. Okay, there is no true finale to the Fast and the Furious. Vin Diesel gets out of that horrible car wreck. Paul Walker throws him a set of keys, and then in the post-credit sequence, we learn that Vin Diesel has driven to Mexico. We know this because Partes is written in Spanish. It's a really smart move on Vin Diesel's part. A, because he's not going to get arrested in Mexico, and B, because it sets up an opportunity for more movies, which we love. Keeping the form of the Fast and the Furious, there's not going to be a closing number for our show tonight either, because I believe in honoring text and respecting authors.